to the Life and Listings podcast. I have Kymerlee here today with us. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about this one because I think we've already decided that 20 minutes is not going to be enough time to really dig in. But for those people that are listening that haven't met you yet, tell us a little bit about your backstory, your business, who you are, all the fun things.
So I'm Kymerlee Music. I'm in the Southeast Georgia region. I started this field kind of in a crazy sense. So I was working 72-hour shifts on the squad, like straight 72 hours. And my husband shows up to the station with our 6-month-old child. And he says, this ain't working anymore. So I said, well, what do you want me to do? All I know is medical. I can go back to the hospital. We can do something like that. And he says, what about real estate? So I called a friend. She says a life-changing career. That's all I needed to hear. And I signed up for my class. I was done in 4 days and licensed in 8 and had my first one under contract within the first week. It was a whirlwind of an experience, but that just kind of snowballed for me. So I continued working full-time for about a year and a half. I had made 2 brokerage moves in that year and a half. And then I just got so busy, I couldn't work the squad full-time anymore.
Yeah.
I got off the squad, started real estate full-time, and it has just blossomed since then. My husband got his license. We started the team at KW. We left KW, went to EXP, and started with another, like a bigger team. We had 6 of us, and then I was pregnant with twins. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was the hormones. We started our own brokerage, and within a year and a half time, we grew to 20 agents. So this is all in a span of 5 years. I know it's a short time. I did about $10.5 million in sales my first year, and then 20 million my second year, and then just continuing on in that same pattern for these last 4 years.
That's amazing. I mean, in that, with that quick of growth, did you have a mentor or anybody that you were kind of like throwing ideas, or were you just like figuring it out as you went?
That's a funny question. So no, I didn't have any mentorship in the beginning. And I think that's what what drove me to start up the brokerage was to get women, we're predominantly women in this brokerage, the mentorship that they need to grow quickly. So I always tell the agents, I want to get you to where I was on year 2 in your first year. So double the volume in half the time. It's always been my goal for them. Not every agent is equipped to do that, but most are, with just a little bit of mentorship. And now I had YouTube, I had Tom Ferry, and that's really about it.
I mean, sometimes that's all you need, right? I mean, you need to be able to put in the work and like almost be self-taught to be successful. Where did the majority of your business come from? Was it community, or where did that come from?
Well, I started out on my Facebook, and I would message my friends, and try to work that sphere of influence. They always say, as a new agent, call your sphere of influence. Ask them if they know anybody that wants to buy or sell in the next 6 months. Well, that's a load of crap. So I started buying into realtor.com leads, and I have soared with online lead generation. And that's really what scaled my business. And to me, buying leads, you can scale it up or you can turn it down, whichever direction you need to go. Sphere of influence, that's just business that is just there. You can't scale it if you want to build a business around it.
Yeah. And I think this is really like my takeaway from when we were chatting a little bit earlier is you mentioned the real value of a lead. Tell us what that means to you.
We have to remember that person clicking that button on realtor.com, on Zillow, on homes.com is a true human behind that click. Mm-hmm. Whether it's 2:00 in the afternoon or midnight, that is a human wanting to know more about the home. And I see a lot of agents get wrapped up in, I need more leads, and they throw them on drip campaigns and just hope that they convert them. When I look at a lead, a lot of them are a lot of no's, but you do have a lot of yeses. And on those few that are the yeses, I try to look at the lifetime value of that client. So that way it's not transactional, it's relational. Mm-hmm. When you convert that lead into a client, they should already be called a client, not a lead. When you convert that client into a relational aspect and you build that relationship, when they buy, they now go back in the top of the circle of life of a lead. So they go buy, and now they're a seller. And then you nurture them as a seller until they buy again and sell again. And I had one lifetime value of a client that really brought this into perspective for me. And I had a net commission, all in all over the last 4 years of $78,000.
Yeah.
One human at the end of the day, if you look at it like that, you will answer that phone call when they call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, that was 4 deals. I had another one where I had 3 deals from, and that was roughly about $89,000 from that one client. But I brought value. I gave them the Ritz-Carlton experience, and they always called me.
I think that's really important for agents to realize, especially as like the market has shifted and stuff like that, right? Is like, if you're actually looking at building long-term relationships with your clients, you're building a business. If you're just looking at like the transactional one and done leads, you're not building anything. You're just constantly like trying to convert these cold people. And there's so many people that don't follow up. They don't do anything with these people afterwards. They don't even remember their name. So I'm assuming that's a large part of your mentorship is like teaching your women on your team to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of system tech stack too. We get about 1,900 leads a year. That's a lot of people to try and remember. Mm-hmm. And so you let the system work for you and you have those follow-up reminders. We have a smart list. Elena Key is amazing, but you're able to know who to follow up with and when, even if you forgot their name, because they didn't have like that memorable moment, but they could convert in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Follow up with them and treat them as a human. Odds are they'll convert to you.
Yeah. They'll maybe remember who you are too when they're ready to transact. So that actually brings up a great question. What does your tech stack look like right now?
So I have Follow-Up Boss. I love it. I actually had it for 2 years, left, went to Sierra Interactive. Biggest financial mistake of my life. Went back to Follow-Up Boss, and we have it coupled with Ylopo. I love being able to see what my people are looking at, because that lead from 4 years ago may now be ready to buy. And I can say, oh, I taught him 4 years ago. Here's all my notes. I'm a big note taker. And I could call them and say, how's your grandma? How's your dog? How's Tennessee doing? And they're like, wow, you remembered who I was. But it's all because of the good note taking. And, I do remember them after I read my notes. With that, I have an amazing assistant, Hannah. She is a godsend. She takes a lot off my plate so I can get back to the following up. But my main tech stack is Follow-Up Boss and Ylopo.
Okay.
That's really about it.
Keep it fairly simple, but those are like the 2 most important parts, right?
I could not operate without them.
Not without like a good solid CRM. And then Ylopo was pretty amazing too. And then you just signed up for Easy Home Search too.
You did.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It was a September 10th. I've converted 2 so far.
Nice.
That are pretty promising prospects. One's 4 months out, and then the other one is after the election.
Okay. That's, I think we're going to hear that a lot, right?
Yeah, we're only 10 days in. So overall, 2 conversions out of the 22 leads that come in.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I also wanted to kind of dig into, you feel like a lot of your success is because of mindset and consistency. Let's dig into that a little bit. Like as a mom and a wife, and you've changed brokerages a couple of times, and you've doubled, tripled your business and grown your team. What kind of mindset does that take?
It takes a strong one. I believe my background in EMS and being a paramedic really has helped shape me on the mindset factor, because when the world is exploding around you, you sometimes have to throw your blinders on. Otherwise, all that negative energy is going to take from you.
Yeah.
So you really want to operate on a high energy aspect and a positive mindset. And what that looks like for me is I start my morning out every day going to the gym. For the most part, that would be life. I said I went every day. And then coming in and just working on my schedule, which I've now shifted to doing it on Sunday nights, and time blocking everything. That means taking the kids to school, going to the gym, eating my lunch, doing my prospecting, mailers, whatever it is. So that way I have a clear mindset on what my goals are for that week. Because at the end of the day, we all have the same amount of time. Yeah. It's not that you didn't have time, it's that you didn't make it priority.
That's really important. So time blocking, everyone says they time block. Do you really hold yourself to those time blocks that you put yourself on all week?
That's a good question. In the beginning, I was a crappy time block. It has taken me 2 years of pure practice and failing and practicing and failing to really get it down. And now I'm pretty committed to my time blocks. Like I look at it, I'm like, no, we're supposed to go eat lunch like right now. Like, this is my time block. If I don't eat, I won't eat today.
Yeah.
So I do stick to it pretty well. Yes, we're all in real estate. That showing's going to pop up. That listing appointment's going to pop up. But if I have my daytime blocked out and I see that opening, I'll tell my client, hey, I have tomorrow at 4 p.m. or today at 2. Which one works for you? Instead of saying, oh, whenever's good for you.
Yeah.
And so now you're taking control of that conversation right off the rip.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to clients because they look for a leader in this business.
And I think there's something to be said too. And like, you're just like, oh, anytime, I can meet you anytime this week. And they're like, wait a second, I thought you had a business. Like, how can you just come at any given time? And it throws you off too, right? Because when you're prime, when you know you could really be on the phones, you're now out in the car. So I like that it took you 2 years to really work on your time blocking. Because I think a lot of people try it and doesn't work. Or I always see a lot of people's calendars where every morning it says something, they do something. And I'm like, you don't ever do that. Like, that's not actually happening. So would your tip just be practice and practice?
Fail forward. I always say fail is just your first attempt in learning. And I failed miserably at time blocking, but I saw the value of it. It just took a while to get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to pivot a little bit and we're going to do one of our icebreaker questions. You've been in real estate a while. What is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you in real estate?
My funniest thing would be we were showing an investor special home. So you already know it's not going to look pretty on the inside. It was supposed to be not occupied. And we opened the lockbox. We were scheduled. We had confirmation. We went in and we're viewing the home, very dim lights. Like the lights didn't really want to work. And I remember looking at the living room and seeing like a pickle jar and a cold soda. So you know somebody was there. I was like, okay, so they just left. And we go down the hallway, and I'm with my clients like right behind me. And I open up the bedroom door, and it was bunk beds. And there was a naked male sleeping on the top bunk. And I look at my clients, and they look at me, and they're like, is somebody dead? I was like, oh, there's a naked man sleeping. We got to go. And they said, well, can we at least still see the bedroom? I said, sure, whatever you So the man wakes up, and he says, what are you guys doing here? And I said, we're touring your home. He goes, my home's not for sale. And it turns out it ended up being a tenant. It wasn't even his home. But yes, it was definitely for sale. He just was not present with the current times.
And it makes you wonder, like, how does he not know that there's like for sale sign? Someone took pictures, lockbox, someone took pictures at some point, like totally not aware. And the fact that your clients still wanted to look in the room is like too much for me.
Yeah. Yeah, they liked the house. I don't think they bought that house. No, they bought a different home. Oh, but they liked it. It was a good contender.
With no naked people in it.
No naked people.
Oh my gosh. Well, Kymerlee, this has been amazing. If anybody wants to reach out to you or follow you, where is the best place to send them?
I would definitely send them to my personal Facebook. I do everything from there, business and personal. That would be the best place to reach me or to just follow along my journey.
Okay, perfect. And I'll drop that link right in the show notes, or if you're looking on YouTube, right in the description. Kymerlee, thanks so much for sharing today. This has been great, and then hope to see you again soon.
I look forward to seeing you soon too.
Bye.